A blind man opens his eyes. A storm stops at a single command. A dead body breathes again. Science asks one question, faith asks another. Science is humanity's most powerful tool for understanding the physical world. It measures, it tests, it repeats. It explains gravity, decodes DNA, maps the stars, and traces the origin of life back to molecules and motion. Through science, diseases are cured, technologies are born, and civilizations advance. It is a gift, one of humanity's greatest achievements. But science is built on a foundational assumption that nature behaves consistently. That causes lead to predictable effects, that the rules don't suddenly change. A miracle, by definition, is not a newly discovered law of nature. It is an interruption, a rupture in the expected flow of events, a moment where the author steps into his own story. Science cannot test interruptions because interruptions are not repeatable, not because they are impossible, but because they are personal. When a miracle is reported, science does exactly what it should do. It investigates, it looks for patterns, it searches for alternative explanations. It asks whether something was misdiagnosed, misunderstood, exaggerated, or falsely remembered. Often, science succeeds. Many things once called miracles were later understood, and that is not a threat to faith, it is progress. But sometimes, science reaches a wall, not a wall of ignorance, but a wall of method. Science reduces events to mechanisms, cells, chemicals, neurons, forces, and mechanisms are powerful explanations. But meaning does not live inside mechanisms. You can explain the chemistry of tears, but not why someone cries at a graveside. You can explain how sound waves travel through air, but not why music can break a hardened heart. You can map every neuron firing in the brain, but still miss the experience of love, hope, or awe. The Bible never presents miracles as magic tricks meant to impress. They are described as signs, events that point beyond themselves. These signs were written so that you may believe. Miracles are not about the suspension of reason. They are about revelation. Perhaps the mistake is asking, can science explain miracles? Instead of asking, what is a miracle meant to reveal? Because a miracle is not primarily a puzzle to be solved. It is a message to be received. If God created the laws of nature, then intervening in them would not be difficult. A programmer does not violate the code by editing it. The miracle is not the power. The miracle is the timing. Faith does not reject evidence. It recognizes limits. Science explains how things work. Faith wrestles with why they exist. Science can describe the mechanism of healing. Faith speaks to the purpose of suffering. Science can explain survival. Faith asks what makes life worth living. They are not enemies. They are addressing different layers of reality. Christianity ultimately stands or falls on one event, the resurrection of Jesus. If it didn't happen, faith collapses. Christianity becomes philosophy at best, illusion at worst. But if it did happen, then reality is far larger than materialism allows. Science can examine the tomb. History can assess eyewitness testimony. Archaeology can analyze context. But belief requires trust, not blind trust, but informed trust. And not all miracles make headlines. A hardened heart softens, an addict walks free, a broken life finds meaning in despair. Forgiveness replaces bitterness. Hope rises where none should exist. Science may call it psychology, neuroplasticity, or behavioral change. Faith calls it transformation. Both may be right. So where does science end? And faith begin? Perhaps not at the edge of knowledge, but at the edge of control. Science seeks mastery, faith requires surrender. And maybe miracles are not violations of nature at all. Maybe they are reminders that nature is not all there is. The question was never whether science could explain miracles. The deeper question is whether we are willing to believe there is more than what can be measured.